Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're having a lovely day. Today I'd like to read you an email that I received that makes it very obvious that I've done a bad job of presenting the Magnuson-Moss warranty law on this channel and the problems with it and what really needs to happen. Let me read the email to you, and I'm going to try and make this a video that hopefully explains the issue and what the value of a law is and what the power of a law is, or lack thereof. Lewis, I saw your video about the water filter hack. There's something that everyone seems to be missing. The Magnuson-Moss Warranty Act requires that a manufacturer cannot void a warranty if the customer uses aftermarket parts. In this case, installing an aftermarket filter during the warranty period will create a warranty claim because the water will not dispense as it should. The only possible repair is to disable the electronic lockout. You should make a follow-up video and solicit information about other appliances that have similar lockout mechanisms, like the Keurig that redesigned their coffee makers some years ago to include an electronic lockout for your aftermarket coffee cups. If consumers were able to get together with a good class action attorney, manufacturers might stop this nonsense. There might also be a cause of action under state consumer fraud laws. If you can get a decent response and want to send me the info, I'd be more than happy to forward it to President Trump, Attorney General Bondi, and the FTC commissioners. There's an old saying that shit runs downhill, and I'm confident it would in this case. And this gentleman made a great argument. He's talking about a law from the 1970s called the Magnuson-Moss Warranty Act. The Magnuson-Moss Warranty Act, is, to oversimplify it, says that I cannot void your warranty because I have a warranty void if remove sticker. So for instance, if you buy a Toyota Camry from my dealership and you drive the Camry and you drive it straight into a brick wall at 100 miles an hour, and then you say, I want warranty on my Camry, the engine doesn't work. I'm going to look at that car and say, bro, you crashed into a brick wall at 100 miles an hour. I have your dash cam footage, no warranty for you. I'm allowed to void your warranty. However, I cannot put a giant sticker over where you do your oil changes and then say, well, you replaced your oil yourself in your garage, so we're voiding your warranty. You're not allowed to do that. If you're going to void a customer's warranty when they perform service on their own device, it doesn't say that you can't do that. You can still void the warranty, but you have to provide a reason. The burden of proof is on the manufacturer. I'll give you an example of this in my own company. So let's say that somebody brings me a 15-inch MacBook Pro from 2011. They all had this GPU issue where the motherboard would fail because the graphics chip would overheat itself and then die. Let's say that you brought it in and it was running really slow. We would say, well, if you change your hard drive to a solid-state drive, it'll run faster. I can do that for you. We would change their hard drive to a solid-state drive from a major brand like Crucial or Samsung and Toshiba, etc., and we would send them on their way. 6 months later, their graphics chip dies, and they would go to Apple to get it fixed because Apple had an extended warranty program released for this product. Apple would look at them and say, you had your solid-state drive replaced, you replaced it, your warranty is void. And then they would come back to me and yell at me, and I would say, that's illegal. They can't do that. Now, let's say that the Apple employee looks at the customer and says, well, it looks like the same screwdriver that he used while replacing your drive. Right next to it, it looks like he wrote his name using the screwdriver, scraping the board in script right along all the PCI Express data lines connecting the CPU to the GPU. So I'm afraid that we can't cover this because your service technician broke it, not us. That's totally illegal. Magnuson-Moss Warranty Act allows companies to void customer warranties, and it even gives them latitude to do a lot of improper voiding of warranties as long as they give a reason. All Magnuson-Moss says is you have to give a fucking reason. You cannot say simply because the customer opened it and replaced their SSD in their laptop or changed the oil in their car that the warranty is void. There must be a real reason. In spite of this, in spite of all the latitude that Magnuson-Moss allows companies still just claim that your warranty is void simply for touching it, and that is a serious problem. This is something I've gone over on my channel. Admittedly, I haven't done a good enough job of it, and I can tell that from this email. That's not me being snarky towards the person who wrote it. I really just haven't done a good job of it. I want to show you a few of the times that I've went over this. One time was with Harley Davidson. Whether you like her or hate her, Lena Khan was the best progressive consumer champion that ran the FTC in my lifetime. She actually cared about customers getting screwed. She cared about dark patterns. She cared about websites that tried to make it hard for you to cancel. She cared about companies that spied on you and stole your personal data. And she cared about right to repair and your ability to work on your own products. She was a genuine consumer advocate. She went after companies that did stuff like this. She went after Harley Davidson when they were conditioning warranty repair on you getting service done through them. She went after Weber Grills when they were claiming your warranty was void for the same things. And also, while she was at the FTC wrote a over 50-page paper dissecting all the anti-right to repair arguments and obliterated them. I was very excited to see this. And here's how it worked out. This is where it gets depressing. FTC takes action against Harley Davidson and Westinghouse for illegally restricting customers' right to repair. Agency orders requires company to fix warranties, come clean with customers, and compete fairly with independent repairers. Now, when you scroll through this entire thing, one of the things that you'll notice is that they did not get a fine. It says that they could get further violations, and they say that they could seek a penalty of up to $46,570 per violation in federal court. However, in spite of the fact that they broke the law for tens of thousands of people, you'll notice that if you read through this, they were fined $0. Both of these companies were fined $0. Nothing. They paid nothing. Now, this press release is from July 7th, 2022, but this is not like this is the first time the FTC has said this. The FTC has been saying this going back to 2018, that it is illegal to condition warranty coverage on the use of specified parts or services. And US PIRG does this great piece called Warranties in the Void, where they will call up many different manufacturers and ask them about their warranty policies to try and figure out what manufacturers are telling customers. And for the most part, most manufacturers tell customers that their warranty policy is something that would break the law. So here it says, according to our 2018 report, 45 of the 50 appliance companies surveyed stated that they void warranty coverage due to independent or self-repair. We presented our findings to the FTC in the hopes that just as the agency had done to 6 companies early in 2018, they would warn non-compliant companies to address issues. Without public action from the FTC, we began to wonder if the earlier warnings, as well as the FTC's Nixon Fix workshop investigation, had created enough pressure on the manufacturers to improve conditions for warranty. Unfortunately, in our survey conducted in the fall of 2020, we found that all of the 43 companies we surveyed indicated that warranty would be voided due to independent repair. US PIRG has kept up with this on a regular basis, and every single time they do this report, the results are quite similar and also quite horrible. Several of the companies that were found to be disobeying the law in prior reports are also disobeying right to repair laws in more modern reports done in 2025. A search of LG's website produced only an owner's manual, not a repair manual. When KQED asked an LG customer service representative to provide a repair manual via online chat, the technician responded, "Please be informed that only authorized technicians can use that, and we are not allowed to share it with the customer." And then John Taylor, senior vice president of LG Electronics, said, "The CalPIRG grade is baffling when they got an EP. The report is incorrect. The service manual and parts of this LG dishwasher are available to consumers in California." In this video I did over here, I searched their website as best as I could, and there was no opportunity for me to ever get access to this. The lesson here is that laws are only as valuable as their societal will to be enforced. In my opinion, Magnuson-Moss is not a law. It is a meme. It is a joke. It is not enforced, and as a result of it not being enforced, it doesn't exist. If you jaywalk in New York City, I'm sure somewhere on the books it says that crossing the street when the light is red is illegal, but it's a meme. You would have to arrest the entirety of New York because everybody breaks that law. Nobody obeys that law. Why would you obey that law? It makes no sense to obey that law. And the same thing is true over here. Why would any manufacturer be honest with the customer about this if they don't have to? And more importantly, who is going to enforce this law now that it hasn't been enforced for this long? The most consumer-friendly champion at the FTC in my lifetime enforced this law by giving a company a stern warning in their press release and fining them $0. That's actually worse than doing nothing, in my opinion, because what that does is it sends the message that, wait a second, at first, I was afraid of what would happen if I get in trouble, but now I know if I get in trouble, I'll get fined nothing, so I'm going to keep doing it anyway. Further, the current FTC chair is somebody who disagrees with Lina Khan on a number of different issues, including click to cancel. The person who's currently heading the FTC doesn't even believe that there should be a rule that says that if you make it easy to sign up for a service, that it should be equally as easy to cancel that service on a company's website. The current FTC chair is siding with people that have said, and I'm not kidding, that people may die if you have the ability to hit cancel on a website. I could go into detail on where this administration is not very pro when it comes to consumer rights or any of these particular issues. I'll give them a thumbs up when they do things like support military right to repair. But on this particular issue over here, the people that you're talking about talking to, while I would love to get them to pay attention and care about my issue, I don't think will. And I also have a sneaking suspicion that they might not even agree with these laws as they exist to begin with. So I appreciate what you said. It's not that we don't point this out. It's that this law doesn't exist. Unfortunately, it is a meme. Simply because the law is written down does not make it a law. What makes a law is it being enforced and people being punished for breaking it. Have you ever received a speeding ticket? If you've received a speeding ticket, did you have to pay a fine? That's how you can tell that a law exists and is not a meme. You break the law and there's a punishment. If there is no punishment for breaking the law and nobody actually enforces it, is it real? If a tree falls in the forest and nobody is there to hear it make a sound, did it fall? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you think that this is a travesty and that this is a useful law that should be enforced, what do you think needs to be done to get it enforced? What would you do differently? If you're somebody in a position of power or influence and you think that this is a law that should be enforced so that your warranties are not voided simply because you changed the oil in your car or decided that you wanted to change the water filter on your refrigerator with one that didn't cost $50, what would you do? How can you help? Nathan Proctor at US PIRG has been working on this issue for almost 10 years now. And I'm sure he'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're somebody who is in a position of power or influence, who has any ability to sway this administration or administrations that may come after it, we would like to hear from you. I'm sure Nathan would as well. I'll leave some contact info for him down below. That's it for today. And as always, I hope you learned something. I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.
We also have the duty not to infringe the IP rights in the process. It is in fact the manufacturers who have the relevant rights, not consumers.